Thank you for joining us at this news hour on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babile Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, health authorities battle the worsening cholera epidemic in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, with over 2,000 cases already recorded. Health amenities overwhelmed by the increasing number of persons concerned or affected by this health problem. About 40 deaths have already been recorded, and the authorities are also fighting and stepping up the measures that are supposed to be taken to contain tuberculosis in the country, with over 2,000 cases already recorded. The littoral region having the highest number, about 4,000 cases recorded in the littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. CPD militants and officials attacked, some injured, vehicles destroyed in the Jamare division of the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon. And of course, this happened during a meeting of the ruling party in that part of the country, and the attackers said they were not informed of the coming of the CPDM officials in that part of the country. And out of the Republic of Cameroon, the government of Ethiopia has declared a humanitarian truce in its 16-month conflict with forces of the northern Tigray region. Those were our top stories. The cholera problem worsening in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, the number of persons affected increasing by the day, and today we're talking about at least 2,000 persons affected by the cholera outbreak in that part of the country. Health amenities are overwhelmed by the increasing number of cholera patients arriving at the hospitals, and the health authorities are now battling to contain the spread of cholera at a time when at least 40 persons have been confirmed dead of cholera. David Simaimo reports from Limbe.
Red Cross equally in the field, doing what it takes to disinfect the entire area, be it the hospital, be it the neighborhood, to combat this particular illness that has hit the city of Limbe and that has hit Fako division in the entirety.
We are there to do disinfection, and we are also the community. The Red Cross are also there to distribute aqua taps to disinfect water, drinking water in household, and also they are there to do community mobilization and sanitization in the communities.
The whole here that was constructed for the hospital has equally been transformed into a ward, and it is full to capacity. In fact, you see right here we have makeshift structures that have been put in place by the government and its partners through the district medical officer here. They have been able to put up this makeshift structure, but nevertheless they have shortage of beds here, shortage of material, shortage of drugs. It is what the medics here are actually complaining and appealing with the powers that be to make these things reach them down here as fast as possible.
You have even students, they are here to help us, but the manpower is really short. As you see, most of them, some of them are students, others have also come from other facilities like Medicine Sans Frontier. Okay. Some of them are also here to help. Red Cross too. Okay. It's not left out. Okay. And we are really asking if there is help. If there are volunteers, they should come and help us.
We are at the regional hospital here in Limbe, where of course medics at the regional hospital are doing whatever it takes to save life. You can find drips hanging along the windows. It tells you that they don't have enough beds, they don't have enough drip stands, and of course medication equally is a problem. And this is a call that they have presented to the governor of the Southwest region, who of course is the chief executive officer of the region, to make sure that the central unit of the government in Yaoundé transport these things down to Limbe to actually cope with the situation of the cholera outbreak here that actually hit the city of Limbe.
With a total of 22,000 tuberculosis infected cases and not 2,000 as earlier indicated detected in Cameroon, health specialists are multiplying efforts in order to contain the rise, and the littoral region, which has registered the highest number of cases, which stands at 4,000 As of now, the population, the authorities are urging the population to take precaution in order to contain the spread of the airborne disease in the country. And of course, we're going to come back to this report with Immaculate Fogwe in a short while. Time for us to talk about lawyers from the northwest and southwest regions of the country, common law lawyers who have revealed that the human rights situation in the two Anglophone regions in crisis for close to 6 years now is worsening by the day. Killings have continued, destruction of properties, displacements of tens of thousands, hundreds of persons continue in those two regions of the country. Violence has continued, abduction and other atrocities continue in those two regions. The lawyers were speaking to Derek Jato on the sidelines of a workshop organized by the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, and the lawyers have been drilled on strategic litigations, especially within the context of the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, which makes the job much more challenging, much more difficult with the cases arising from there. Now, take a listen to some of the lawyers who spoke to a Southwest correspondent, Derek Jato. First of all, Barrister Noveliza Ita Bisong and Barrister Dixon Bumbu.
So this training is very important and kind of timely, because while we think at one breath that we are making strides towards ending the crisis, we realize that there's still a lot of human rights violations. And, the training on strategic human rights litigation is very apt, because sometimes it is good to go beyond individual cases and look at the general good. This training is going to be very helpful to lawyers because it gives us a broad view of the options we have. Litigation, yes, but synergizing with the media, synergizing with other communities and other non-governmental organizations and UN bodies is very important.
I want to say that this seminar has been very enriching. To say the least, it is timely, but it has come at a time when all these abuses are there for everyone to see. And so, impacting lawyers on strategic litigation is going to help lawyers who are known to be the voice of the voiceless, to try in their own way, through the knowledge gathered from this seminar, to, if not completely eradicate, at least help in reducing the rate at which human rights are abused in the northwest and southwest regions.
Those were legal minds speaking to Derek Jato in the southwest region of the country, Barrister Noveliza Tabisong and Barrister Dixon Bumbu. And Derek Jato also talked to Barrister Raphael Kum and Barrister Chia Blessing Neu, and highlighting the importance of such workshop organized by the Center for Human Rights and Democracy that's intended or aimed at equipping them with greater tools for them to be able to do their job and do it well. Take a listen to them.
Actually, the situation of the human rights in the Northwest region is deplorable, because every day we witness cases of arbitrary arrests without warrant, without following the due procedures, kidnapping and disappearance. And as legal practitioners, Human Rights Watch, we are faced with the difficulties in actually performing our duties of defending our clients before the court. So this seminar comes just timely to broaden and widen our knowledge on how to handle strategic litigations in times of conflicts, like the ongoing conflicts in the Northwest and Southwest region of Cameroon.
I've learned that it's not all the human rights cases that you can get a redress through the courts, because it's all about strategic litigation, it's all about case law, it's about a test law. Test law means that what? Even if the law does not talk about that, or a situation has not arisen has not arisen as far as that particular human right is concerned, you can try, you can begin, and from the results that you have, the laws of the country can be revised. Some can even be enacted that have never been enacted before. I am going far better than I came.
Legal minds speaking there. Barrister Bu Raphael Kum and Barrister Chia Blessing Newu speaking to Derek Chato in the southwest region of the country. Now we come back to Immaculate Fogwe and this report concerning the rising number of persons affected by tuberculosis in the country. 22,000 persons as of now, and 4,000 in the littoral region, or particularly in the town of Douala, and of course the littoral region of the country as a whole. Now we're going to have the report in a subsequent news editions. We are going to talk about CPDM militants right now. Some of them, including officials of the party, were attacked, injured, and the vehicles destroyed in the Jamare Division, Far North region of the Republic of Cameroon. This happened during a meeting organized by the section leaders for Marwa 1 in that part of the country. And the persons who attacked them, the attackers, said they were not informed of the arrival in their locality. Innocent as a husband.
A violent scene. Vandalized vehicles, and a CPJ militant beaten mercilessly by a group of individuals who stand against holding of a meeting of the CPJ Jamari Center No. 3 section delegation, headed by its president Adamu Sidiki in Balazar Al-Khali, a locality situated over 20 kilometers from Marwa, Far North region.
Ça sous-entend qu'il y a des manipulateurs.
Some parents manipulate their children to commit such atrocities or barbaric acts. This should stop. Many have been injured. Enormous destruction caused. Adults have to play their role to bring their children to order so that they become future CPDM party militants and not to be vandals.
Au lieu d'envoyer les enfants en pâture comme ils le font dans ce village de Balazar Al-Khali.
The set individuals stormed the meeting avenue, ordering the Adamu Sidiki's led delegation to go back where they come from. Then disconnected the generator cables to abort the CPDM meeting.
Les incidents qui se sont déroulés à Balazar Al-Khali.
The incident at Balazar Al-Khali is a regrettable one, but not critical at all. So there is no need to be distracted because the party has no problem in this zone regarding the turnout of militants. As you know, there are distractors everywhere. That can never lack. However, we are delighted, positive, and return to Marwa powerfully galvanized.
Mais nous sommes contents.
Other militants affirm such violence was expected.
C'est juste pour vous dire, nous ne sommes pas surpris.
God so good, no arms were used, and no one lost his life.
Nous étions déjà informés.
We were already informed of a Protestant meeting by an insignificant minority. This could not intimidate a big party like the CPDM.
Il s'agit du parti du président de la République.
Alerted from Marwa, the gendarmerie commander and one of his elements arrived at the scene to calm the situation. Speaking off camera, the gendarmerie commander said he met with the protesting locals and they told him they were not aware of the CPDM thank you meeting and that the delegation was to signal their arrival to the Balazar Al-Khali traditional leader. Meeting also with the Adamu Sidiki's delegation, they presented to the gendarme commander a note of authorization issued to them by the traditional leader. Also, a copy of the meeting request they had sent. It is worth mentioning that after election of executives of the basic organs of the party, the bureau members of the CPDM Jamare 3 section embarked on a tour to thank militants of the party in the 72 subsections in Marwa 3. It is on day 2 of the tour that the delegation came under attack in Balazar Al-Khali.
Cameroonian and Dutch economic authorities and entrepreneurs strengthening cooperation ties between the two countries in order to enhance development and within the framework of a multi-sector trade mission to Cameroon. Dutch business persons met with Cameroonian or their Cameroonian counterpart here in Douala yesterday in a meeting chaired by the country's Minister of Finance, Cameroon's Minister of Finance, Alamin Ousmane Mey, and the Netherlands ambassador to Benin, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea. And the business persons were discussing opportunities, notably in Cameroon, investment opportunities that can be exploited by Dutch business persons in order to contribute to the development drive, the 2035 development drive of the Republic of Cameroon, but also in their benefit, the benefit of their country. And of course, during this meeting, all the opportunities in different sectors, including agriculture, energy, and others, were exploited, examined, and the challenges of foreign investment in Cameroon explained. And the Cameroonian authorities, notably the Minister of Finance, or rather the Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Alamin Ousmane Mey, explaining all the possibilities, all the opportunities, and the actions that the government of Cameroon is taking in order to ease trade within the national territory. Now, take a listen to Cameroon's Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, and the Ambassador of the Netherlands to Benin, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea.
Focus on structural transformation of our economy. This should lead to greater industrialization, and industrialization is about adding value to our commodities and raw materials. We want to make it in the sense that we create more jobs, we add value to our product, and we sell them on the international market. Import substitution is one of the pillars of this strategy. Why? Because we know that Cameroon has huge potential in different sector of activities, and we need to import only those products we cannot have on our market and put on the market those products we can on our own produce and transform. Local content is part of our policies, and it's also what is reflected in import substitution. We want to create more activities locally, we want to generate more product locally, we want to add value locally. This will be done by Cameroonians, and we want to invite also other stakeholders to be part of this journey. But locally, we do want to believe that job creation is critical. The future is about making our youth be part of the mainstream of the economy, and it's only through transformation of our natural resources, of our commodities, that they will be able to add value in this environment which is changing, and they have the skills.
Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Alamin Ousmane Mey, rather talking there about the investment opportunities and, of course, the development drive of the Republic of Cameroon. Now take a listen to Minister Alamin Ousmane Mey and the Netherlands ambassador to Cameroon, speaking about the opportunities of exchange of investment and development actions between the Netherlands and Cameroon.
Of interest that have been covered by this important mission are aligned to our national development strategy. You have energy, you have infrastructure, you have rural development, agriculture, livestock, fisheries. These areas, Cameroon has a huge potential, and our private sector is playing its role, but we want also to attract more other stakeholders, in this case from the Netherlands, to be part of this journey. We have been able to present to them the strength of our economies, the potentials they can take advantage of and contribute to expanding their activities, to promoting greater trade between Cameroon and the Netherlands. I want to emphasize on the fact that at the level of the government, for this year, the finance law has made a provision of 200 billion CFA as a guarantee to support small and medium-sized enterprises in promoting our activities internally, producing more to sell on our local market. On the side of the Netherlands, a line of credit to support these trade activities of 700 million euros is available. We will work together to take advantage of this line of credit, and I hope that in May to come, as instructed per the head of state, will have the Netherlands-Cameroon week in the Netherlands to promote further ties, cooperation, and improve on our ties with this part of the world.
Well, the targets that are here is agriculture, livestock, energy, portuary logistics, bitumen. So that are the main that are here. We have seen that there is more demand, and I think in the future there will be other opportunities to work together between Cameroon businesses and Dutch businesses.
The government of Ethiopia has declared a humanitarian truce on its 16-month conflict with forces from the north of Tigray, or the Tigray region. The civil war has left more than 5 million people needing food aid, yet none has been delivered in Tigray since mid-December last year, and the Tigrayan forces have yet to respond to the government's move. The head of the World Health Organization, who is from Tigray, has described the situation there as catastrophic and accused the Ethiopian government of preventing aid from getting through. Ethiopia accuses the Tigray People's Liberation Front of stopping supplies from reaching those in need. There have been reports from the region that people are dying of hunger or lack of medical supplies. The Indomitable Lions head coach Rigobert Song and team captain Abubakar Vincent have declared the determination of the Cameroonian male football team to make it through to the 2000 or the next World Cup that will be organized in Qatar. And of course, they were speaking to journalists here in Douala, the Japoma Sports Complex today. And after that meeting with journalists, they had their training session today, finalizing the boys on their feet to be able to play and win against Algeria. That will be tomorrow. And the Algerians also spoke to the press after the Indomitable Lions head coach and captain, and they equally declared that they were ready to face the Indomitable Lions and of course make a win in that encounter. And of course the match will be played tomorrow at the Japoma Stadium on the outskirts of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Now, several fans of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon here in Douala say they are delighted to watch the Indomitable Lions play at the Japoma Stadium against Algeria tomorrow. But the fans were talking to our reporters who visited the Ndokoti ticket sales point earlier today. Smanjigan Gebre has more.
It was a long queue that we met at one of the ticket sales points in Dokoti this Thursday as supporters of the Indomitable Lions rushed for tickets for the match on Friday. The fans say it's something they are doing for the love of the game.
It's just a sacrifice I've decided to do. A nice and a pleasure for me to really go and assist this type of match. You know, it's not quite easy. Since I'm really facing some difficulties, but I had to create that time to be at the field. Well, it's just a way for me to just encourage them also, to give them a go ahead. You know, it's not easy.
The wait was however long because to get the ticket wasn't an easy task for some who wanted to watch the match live at the Japoma Stadium.
It was not quite easy because I spent more than 3 hours just in order to have a ticket, because they told us to go and come back around 5 o'clock. But people like us were still there. We had to wait for the ticket to come, then we were privileged to have one. So I thank God that I've gotten one.
The enthusiasm that we met at Ndokoti ticket sales point wasn't the same we saw on Wednesday. The Cameroon versus Algeria encounter that comes up this Friday will be the first leg of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. The final round of the FIFA World Cup will come up in Qatar later this year.
And of course, we're going over to talking points right now. Our guest today, Ashu Egbe, sickle cell patient of beta steel sickle cell warrior. He has been advocating for sickle cell awareness for more than 30 years, and he has established the Ashu Egbe Foundation with main focus sickle cell management and awareness. Ashu Egbe, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tell us your experience with sickle cell.
I'll be 56 years tomorrow, so I've been living with sickle cell for this long. It's been not an easy road, but I've survived, unlike what people say that we don't live above a certain age, 21. So it's been a long walk, and we're happy. I'm happy that I'm still alive to even testify, and thank God that we can give hope to many sickle cell patients who are younger than us, that they too can live long.
All right, your story is that of hope, but it's not quite easy, right? It must be clear that it's not easy.
It's not really that easy, because going through a sickle cell crisis is very painful, because it's you have pains all over your body, and there are some patients that go through that almost every month. The other day I visited a young man in the hospital, and since August he has been hospitalized every month. So if you go through that, you are a young student, you have to go to school, and between that you are admitted for a week or so every month in the hospital. It's not only physically challenging, it's financially also and emotional. And of course, the parents, the caregivers, the people who take care of the child too are into some sort of that challenge too. It's not just the patient, but even the people who take care of them.
All right, for over 30 years now, you've been fighting not only to see that sickle cell is well managed, and that other people who are already caught in the sickle cell trap, so to speak, can survive like you and live as long as you, and even longer. But you're also more interested in prevention, ensuring that this is prevented. That's where we're talking about awareness. Let's first of all talk about management.
Yes, in the area of management, we believe that's at the level of the Ashu Egbe Foundation. We believe that if you have regular controls, regular follow-up, you have less crisis. It's just like a car that has regular maintenance. You have less break there. You will not have many breakdowns. So what we are doing is we are partnering with some hospitals to run what we call sickle cell clinics. In a sickle cell clinic, sickle cell patients come, say, once a month, and they have their blood controlled. They have a regular meeting one-on-one with the doctor, and they go home with some medication. So if you have these regular controls, during those meetings you have some health talks, advice on how to manage and live well without a crisis. So maintenance, management of the sickle cell condition is very important.
For the parents who may have sickle cell patients or children who are listening to you now, the secret is continuous and permanent control. Is that
correct? That is correct. If you have continuous and permanent controls and doing the certain things that you're supposed to do, like staying hydrated, that is drinking a lot of fluid, which is water preferably, avoiding infections, avoiding stress, so things like that, and taking your medication, especially folic acid, which is supposed to be taken daily. So if you do all this, then you have regular controls, you can have less, visits to the hospital with crisis.
Right. Sometimes this permanent control, this secret, this measure that can enable the people who are caught up in this trap to live as long as possible is hindered by frustration, disappointment, despair, and even discouragement. Sometimes some of the parents, they get discouraged with the whole thing. What will you tell those who find themselves in this kind of situation of hopelessness?
Yeah, that they should never give up. It's true that, when you are a parent and you've been spending so much, because this thing can be costly on your child, you get to a point, you get discouraged, you get disappointed. We're saying that don't give up, and if we do the regular controls, you have less crises in the hospitals, which are very costly. So the basic controls, which is not very costly, can avoid the expensive visits in the hospital with crisis. So what we can only say them is to keep on there. We are there as a foundation. The foundation is there to support, to be a shoulder to lean on, to talk to, and provide even the moral support is very important too.
All right, don't get discouraged. Don't be hopeless. There is always hope. Now, let's talk about prevention. What is what is it that should be done? What is it that should be done by everybody before marriage? Because it's something that comes from genotypes.
Correct. Sickle cell is a genetic condition, which means you can only get it from your parents. You can either be AA, that is normal, you have 2 genes, hemoglobin genes from you that you inherited from the 2 parents. You can also be AS, which means that you have inherited 1 hemoglobin gene from 1 parent, that is normal, and there's 1 sickle hemoglobin from the other parent, so you are AS. And you can also be SS, which is for the people who already have sickle cell. Our focus is for those who are AS. The statistics for Cameroon that we know is that 1 out of 5 Cameroonians are carriers of the sickle cell gene, which means they are AS. And most of them, I think more than 90% of those who are carriers don't know that they are carriers. So that's where the education, the awareness about people getting to know their genotype comes in. And we're saying that everybody should know their genotype, because if you know your genotype, you know who is compatible with you to get for marriage, and then you can take informed decisions. At the level of the foundation, we are going out to the communities. We are targeting especially the youth who are soon to get married, the youth who are getting ready for relationships, and we are telling them, get tested, know your genotype, know who is compatible with you, so that when it's time for marriage, you take the right decision and avoid having children having children with sickle cell. I know what it is to have sickle cell, because when I am in crisis, I cry like a baby, and I wouldn't like to see people have children who have the disease and go through all that.
And to be a little more precise, Ashuegbe, is to know your genotype, you have to go for the electrophoresis test, right?
Correct. Yes, that is it. You do the electrophoresis test. But at the level of the foundation, what we are doing is we are targeting centers that have many youths, like the university institutions, like the churches, and we are going to them saying that, okay, there's what we call a rapid sickle cell test that is not very expensive. And when you go there and provide this, but you're not only doing the test, after the test, you have post-counseling with the people, the people who have taken the test, so they know who is compatible with who based on the results that they have just had. While calling on some of the leaders, elites, politicians, and decision makers to come and support this initiative. How do you support the initiative? You can sponsor the screening of the sickle cell test in your community, and many youths in your community will benefit. There will be a one-time test that they will do, and it will be something that will be very, very important for them, very useful for them. So if you are a politician, an elite, who are available to go to your community, if you sponsor the project and get many students or youth tested for free in your community.
All right. The last word which we should be taken home today is to prevention, and that is through going for the electrophoresis test and not attributing whatever happens later if we don't go for that to witchcraft.
Correct. That's the right word. With sickle cell, it's not contagious. It is not witchcraft, and sickle cell patients can live long, like myself. I'll be 56 years tomorrow. I know somebody who will be celebrating his 60th, will be 60 years this year. So there are many people living with sickle cell who are above 40, 30. So it's no longer an illness that we are supposed to be ashamed of. Before, some families were keeping their children in their home, in their small corners because of stigmatization. No, it is not. We are not supposed to be stigmatized. We should come out and be integrated in the society and live like normal persons because we are normal.
And the society is also called not to stigmatize, underlook, or undergrade, or degrade, or dehumanize persons with sickle cell.
Correct, because already the pain that they go through, physical pains, is too much. Now, if you add the psychological, that's why sometimes people say that they look frail. They can look that pale because of not only just the physical stress, pain. Then imagine you add the psychological and the financial to it. Somebody who has been in hospital every month and you are losing like every time 2 kilograms. Within 6 months, you look very frail. So we're saying accept them, integrate them, and also for the sickle cell warriors and patients, accept your condition and live with it, and know that you have come into this world to make a living, and you are going to live. And maybe sickle cell will not be, you might die of something else, but not necessarily sickle cell disease.
Thank you so much, Ashu Egbe, sickle cell warrior, who has been advocating for sickle cell awareness for more than 30 years, and he's the coordinator of the Ashu Egbe Foundation with main focus sickle cell management and awareness. Thank you for your time. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Goodbye.
Thank you.